hear the presentation and have a look.
Okay. Welcome to today's EWaste session. Welcome to everyone here and on Facebook. So the purpose of the presentation today is to help you, the community, understand what is included in the EWaste ban that commences on July 1, and why it's important for all the community to act together to ensure that EWaste doesn't end up in landfill. A quick introduction, my name's Jane Mackay, I'm a resident in sunny Brisbane, and during the session if you have any questions I'll endeavour to answer them or defer to Kartik, who is the East Gippsland Shire Council Manager of Waste and Resource Recovery, for any technical questions. So I'm going to take you through a few points today, and I'm sorry my clicker's not working. What is EWaste? So including what types of electronic waste are included in the landfill ban and what types of EWaste will remain free to dispose of after July 1. Why it's important for us to keep EWaste out of landfill as a community. Where our EWaste goes once we've sent it to be recycled, and why EWaste is bad for landfill. So firstly, obviously you've heard, seen or read, given that you're here, that the Victorian Government is banning all e-waste or electronic waste from landfill from July 1 this year. And this includes disposing of any type of electronic waste in your red-lidded curbside bins. From now until the end of June, so you've got about 2 weeks, all e-waste will be accepted for free in the e-waste disposal bins at Bairnsdale, Orbost, Bruthen, Omeo, Mallacoota and Lakes Entrance. So there will be a user pays charge associated for most e-waste items after July 1, and items will need to be taken to your nearest transfer station that accepts e-waste rather than in your red lid bin. So firstly, I'll take you through before I go into more detail about what's banned, I'll assure you that bulky items like white goods, so fridges, microwaves, washing machine and dryers are still free to dispose of at transfer stations as they go in the metal pile, not the electronic waste pile. TVs and computers will still be accepted for free at Bairnsdale landfill, as well as now Lakes Entrance landfill, as they are the nominated sites under the National Television Computer Recycling Scheme. All small household batteries are now accepted for free at all e-waste disposal sites, and free disposal of fluorescent tubes and compact fluorescent lights, which has up till now only been available at Bairnsdale, has now been extended to all the e-waste sites, which includes Orbost, Bruthen, Omeo, Mallacoota and Lakes. So what is e-waste? So electronic waste includes all end-of-life electronics and electrical items with a plug, a battery or a cord, any electronic component within an item. So anything that's no longer wanted or working, including TVs and computers, big things like air conditioners and small things like hairdryers and irons, toys with batteries, vacuum cleaners, power tools. So when I started this project, went around my house and had a look at all the e-waste we have in our house, which I'm going to clean out this weekend, and found we've got old landline phones, old tap timers, a lot of my kids' toys have electronic components, and things like old clocks, watches, all of those things have electronic components in them. So common e-waste found around the home includes, in the kitchen we have items such as obviously your fridge, and in some cases your washing machine, dryers, microwaves, irons, toasters, kettles and coffee machines, and I've got an old blender I've got to get rid of. In the bathroom we have electronic toothbrushes, electric razors, hair dryers, straighteners. In the study and lounge room we've got obviously TVs, computers, screens, keyboards, printers, batteries, gaming consoles, Heaters, mobile phones, phone chargers come under e-waste as well, and all other cords such as headphones. So anything with any type of wire or cord in it. So in the garage and shed, which we were talking about earlier, we've got all our power tools and electric lawnmowers and whippersnippers. And it's believed that 1 in 5 Australians are hoarding their electronic waste. So if you are, you better get a clean out this weekend and get it to the landfill sites before July 1. So some other facts about e-waste. E-waste is the fastest growing waste stream in Australia, and it's growing 3 times faster than other municipal waste. Because of our increased reliance on technology, the reduced product lifespan and consumer demand for new products. So e-waste contains valuable materials that we can recover and reuse endlessly, as well as hazardous materials that can harm human and the environment. And for the Shire, for us here, recycling is expensive and waste management is expensive. So it costs the Shire $150 per cubic metre for any type of material that goes to landfill. Then an additional $85 per tonne to send our recyclables to Melbourne. So the Shire pays between $1 and $1.2 million per year just in the levy that we pay to the Victorian government. So it's our second highest expenditure within the Shire. So anything we can do to reduce landfill means we can save money and spend the money on more meaningful community projects. East Gippsland Shire are innovators when it comes to waste management and e-waste storage and collection. We have now at each of the e-waste sites an e-waste bin that was designed and developed just for the Shire. And you'll see them when you go up and to any of the e-waste sites. So currently more than 1 million mobile phones and 1.5 million TVs are discarded in Australia every year, and more than 17 million TVs have been discarded since 2008. So it's estimated that just for TVs and computers, the amount of e-waste generated in Australia will increase by 60% by 2024. So this is in the next 5 years. It's a huge amount. So considering that could go into landfill or it could be recycled, up to 90% of your phone, TV and computer can be recycled. So we really need to be mindful of how we're managing our e-waste as individuals. And the total value of the raw materials and global e-waste per year is $80 billion. So there are other reasons to recycle e-waste. In Victoria, as I said, it's estimated that 109,000 tonnes of e-waste were generated in 2015, and by 2035 this will increase to 256,000 tonnes. So it's important to reduce the amount of waste we send to landfill for the sheer volume of the waste, because it doesn't disappear once we send it to landfill. There are other key reasons to recycle our e-waste. It's better for the environment. E-waste contains hazardous materials that can range from heavy metals such as lead and mercury, and ozone depleting CFCs, and even flame retardants. So in small amounts, these dangerous chemicals can cause environmental contamination. However, when millions of e-waste items get into landfill or are dumped or stored inappropriately, obviously the situation becomes much more serious. They can leach dangerous chemicals into our groundwater, soil and air. And as these substances don't break down easily, they can cause long-term environmental impacts. And e-waste contains valuable materials which are non-renewable in most cases, yet easily recovered and recycled. So electronic items often contain precious metals, including tin, copper, nickel, silver, zinc, gold, aluminium and platinum. So while each individual object doesn't contain very much of these precious metals, this can quickly add up when you consider the sheer number of items that are discarded each year. And no, you can't extract those metals yourself. You need to have special equipment. But in the 1 million mobile phones that are discarded each year, if these were properly recovered, they'd yield up to 16 tonnes of copper, which is non-renewable, 350 kilos of silver and 34 kilos of gold. And it's also important because, as I said, precious metals are non-renewable, and once they're gone for good. But if we recycle them and recover them properly, they can be reused endlessly. And by reusing what we've already mined, we're not only cutting costs, we're also creating jobs in the recycling sector and reducing the greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere by the mining, processing and transportation of these raw materials. So how do you recycle your e-waste? So as I said, from now until the end of June, you can drop your e-waste off for free, any e-waste item off for free at one of the e-waste designated e-waste sites. So these are the addresses for Bairnsdale, Orbost, Bruthen, Omeo, Malakuta and Lakes. So it's that simple from your perspective. You've just got to get going over the weekend and make sure you get into action in the next 2 weeks. So where does your e-waste go? So I'm one of those people that, I put something in the bin and then it's gone. One of the interesting things I've learned is that while researching this project is where our e-waste goes and how it can be used. I didn't know that many of the heavy metals could be reused and reused pretty much endlessly. So in the first instance, obviously, it's stored at the drop-off and then it's transferred to an e-waste processing facility. Would you like, I can tell you about the process if you're interested? Yeah? Okay, sure. So in the first instance, it goes for disassembly. So depending on the type of device, this can occur manually in the first instance. So the steel cases are taken off PC boxes, batteries and casings are removed from phones, and things like cartridges and toners are taken off printers. And the glass from TVs and monitors, especially the old style CRTs, have to be very carefully removed as they contain lead. The next stage is shredding. So basically the remaining items and components are shredded to between 1 and 10 centimetres. Sorting of the shredded material is often a manual process, which is interesting, but there are some automatic processes that occur. Magnets are obviously used to remove metal. Eddy currents are used to remove non-ferrous metals such as aluminium, and other things like infrared beams, lasers and X-rays or burst of air are used to identify various plastics and other metals. Water is used to separate plastics from glass, and then any contaminants are treated and removed. And then the raw materials are then repurposed. So once the raw materials are sorted into their raw form, they can be resold to suppliers to make new products. So up to 90% of e-waste can be recycled, as I said, and the goal is to make a closed loop where a new product isn't made from raw virgin materials anymore, but instead from fully recycled materials, which in turn are also fully recyclable. And once all the different components of your e-waste are back in the supply chain, they can be reused to make many, many things. So plastics are now being turned into plastic fence posts, pallets, casings, toys and keyboards, and batteries are reused to make new batteries, which I think is cool. Precious metals are obviously used to make jewellery, and new electronics and glass is used to make TVs and monitors again, and homewares. And other metals are turned into cabling, which we have a lot of here. So how to avoid creating e-waste in the first place is possibly the most important point, because while it's important to recycle your e-waste, it's even more important to reduce the amount you create in the first place. So basically you can have a look at the product you want to buy and make sure it's right for your needs. It's going to meet all your needs. You're not going to be disposing of it in the short term. Try and choose a brand that's environmentally responsible, and only upgrade your tech if you need to. And see if there's businesses around that environmentally conscious and working to solve the e-waste problem. There are also things you can do to divert or delay your items going into e-waste. If you have something that you no longer need or want but is in good working condition, obviously you can offer it to friends or family if they want it. Sell it on buy, swap and sell. You can give it to the op shop if they will take electronic waste. I know Bruthen won't, but some will. Or you could sell it and make some money to buy some new electronic things. I'm joking. So between now and the end of June, these are the places you can recycle your e-waste for free. After that, as I said, white goods will remain free, TVs and PCs will remain free at Lakes and Bairnsdale, and batteries and fluorescent tubes will now be accepted at all sites. So before you send your items off for recycling, we recommend that with your TV and with your phone and your computer, you make sure that you get rid of any personal data that is on there. There's more information about getting rid of your data off your phone or your computer on either of these sites. And that concludes the presentation for today. So if you have any further questions, Kartik is on hand for technical. Would you like to come in front of the camera, Kartik? And if you have any further questions, obviously contact the Shire.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Question which I asked one of your members here is about small batteries.
Yes.
Do we have to drive out to Forge Creek after these disposal stations at Disassembly or can I've looked on the Shire website up until fairly recently. It doesn't label anywhere that I can get rid of small batteries like hearing aid batteries.
Aldi.
You could take it to Aldi.
I know you can take it to Aldi, but you've got a shop there to actually do it. Is there anywhere else that we can dispose them in the town? Or could the Shire make facilities available at one of their offices in town where we can drop these things off?
Well, we'll definitely look into it, but at this stage we have no plans of setting up any drop-off air points within the town precinct. So it's only going to be at the waste facility at this stage, but that's something we could definitely look into.
I don't think you have to shop at all.
No, you just go in and...
Yeah, but you have to go in behind the counters to do it.
Yeah.
But some Aldi stores are going out to
The
Fortune.
varies in Aldi stores, and I know the one in Bairnsdale moves around like a flea in a fit, so you never know where to find it after time.
Well,
Yeah.
Attached to the wall.
I've been in there 3 times to drop off stuff, and I've had to ask every time. I go to the spot where it was last time, and it's been moved. So.
At
Aldi.
Aldi.
I haven't found it moving at all, but anyway, I have to ask a question on, now, computer screen, computer CPU/laptop, are they free after July?
Yes, at Bairnsdale and Lakes.
Yeah. Well, then I've got a question on your budget. You've got computer screen, you pay $24 or $25 come 1st of July this year.
Yes.
And the computer CPU laptop, you pay $11. So it's not free if this budget gets adopted.
It's not at these other sites.
Other sites, yes.
So that's to allow for you to... Well, it does say green waste free, but underneath
That's
that, they've got charges, so it's not consistent.
Charges
If you put a computer... Well, according to the budget, I mean, it's a weird document anyway, but it's
just
not
to-
consistent.
Yeah, just to answer your
Yeah.
question and clarify, so there was the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme that was introduced a few years ago by the federal government, and Bairnsdale is the designated site, and under that scheme we are able to take televisions, computers and CPUs at no cost, and that will still continue. And this fees and charges for computer CPUs that's been presented as part of the budget has always been there, and it's been for the other sites not under the scheme.
So you should put except for Bairnsdale, basically, isn't it?
And Lakes.
Well, it doesn't sort of say that, because if I read that, it says green waste free, and these virtual sites that you deliver take green waste and you get charged. So it's not consistent. So
I can fix that on the website.
We can fix that on the website, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that this television, CPUs, and computer monitors will be accepted at no charge at the Lakes Entrance landfill from 1st of July as well.
So, just an idea, my drill stops working, how much is it going to cost me to dispose of my drill?
That's going to be based on the size. Obviously, we got a budget from $1 to probably $14, $15 to $30, and that will be looked
So
at.
I've got to come up to you and say,
Yes,
how much? And you'll go,
It's a small item, I think from looking, it will be around $1.
$1 or $2. Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah,
Between $1 and $2 for those small items.
that's right.
Yeah, there'd be recoverables in it.
Yes.
yeah.
A lot of actually
Mm.
drills and batteries and things like that.
So you were talking about TV screens with some fairly heavy prices on them.
Yeah, the actual there's a hazardous e-waste mentioned in the budget for $30. That is the analog TV we are talking about, the box which has got CRT and it's got a substantial amount of lead. And at this stage, there's only one company in South Australia that deals with that lead and the CRT televisions. So that's the reason why it's expensive.
What about leads? I.e. just the leads. I mean, I find that being a bit of a computer nerd, I now have a collection of leads of various ages and sizes.
You and my husband could make a club.
Yeah, and so they are classified as e-waste as well.
Yeah.
And once I come to you,
You
and
can
then
see Ev.
you
Yep.
say that's a dollar.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So is that free then, because behind you there's these cables, is that part of that? At the top? Is that,
So they're
does
free
that
until
include-
July the 1st.
but is that free at Bairnsdale landfill or is it going to cost some firstly?
No, that will be costing some money. So only televisions, computer monitors, CPUs, and any other
Batteries and bulbs.
accessories, but not leads.
So laptops is a...
Yeah, laptops again, that's
yes,
correct.
Fair enough.
So it's sort of user pay, so if you've got 10, you pay for 10.
Mm.
If you've only got one, you just pay for the one.
Basically, if the toaster breaks down, it's going to cost you $1.
I don't know, toaster sounds like a $2 item.
Depends on the size of the
Size of the toaster.
Well, is that consistent to an Australian standard or is it just made up by some council who's decided, oh, this will be the charge based on size?
Now, we've worked out the tonnage cost and the logistics. So we've
Yes.
worked out, and at this stage, it's a lot of things are unknown. Basically, how much of material is going to come in, how much are we going to cart, and maybe the fees and charges will be reviewed on an annual basis depending on the influx of material that comes in, and also depending on the cost of material that needs to be carted and processed.
Is there going to be anywhere in town that you can drop these things off? Or does everybody have to go to Forge Creek?
Forge Creek.
Well, people who don't have cars. I
Uh,
can just see Bairnsdale being full of dead toasters.
Yeah. Look, at this stage, we haven't. We've only had these designated sites, but as and when we look at things, and it is fairly new concept and a new system that's been introduced, and it's been enforced this ban. So there's a lot of unknowns at this stage. So we will be looking at, different options and the logistics of things, and reviewing where the collection points would be over the years or the coming months, depending on how much we get and how much is being generated.
A lot of things have more bulk than weight. Like a toaster, for example. I mean, you could crush a toaster down to a matchbox, probably. So is your thinking in terms of weight or volume on these things? Is it sort of...
Now, we are going by the size.
Do you get charged by weight or volume?
No, by the size. We don't have a volume, the discretion. It's a volume size kind of a,
I mean, it's only going into a truck,
Yep.
and they say that this truck holds 40 cubic metres
but
of whatever's thrown into it. You don't think to yourself, well, if I hit that with a hammer or had a little crusher, I could
but
save a lot of money.
yeah, but the contractor that's
Totally speaking,
the contractor charges us on a tonnage basis.
On a tonnage, okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so that answers that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Because we're over 200 kilometres from Melbourne, can we get a remote allowance system to travel, let it go that distance?
As long if the state government gives us that leverage, we will be more than happy to pass it on to the
And we
community.
can get it with some departments and other departments?
No,
we
not
can't.
with, no, the only,
Not with recovery.
no. At this stage, we don't have any kind of subsidy
Concession.
or concession for this.
This is going to impact a lot of the, there's enormous enough goes up to Queensland, doesn't it? There's bank technicals and B doubles heading up to Queensland all the time with waste.
That was cross-border from New South Wales. That's more to do with municipal solid waste going to the landfills. But there are 3 processing facilities in Dandenong, in Melbourne, EWaste. We are fortunate to have that in this side of Melbourne.
No.
So all our e-waste goes to the 3 facilities. So we have a tender out at this stage. So we will probably we will have a contractor from 1st of July who will be involved in taking it, processing it, and then recycling it or reprocessing it.
Good. I've run out.
Anything else?
No, I'm a bit concerned about how this government, state government, is introducing this as though it's some sort of kind of benefit. Yet it's basically cost, no incentive. So I can't see it, but just like recyclables, not going to be effective. That's basically how it is. You can't, unless you want to have a police state, that's the only way you can do it.
That's correct.
And, it doesn't happen here in Bairnsdale at all in the CBD, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, and it's going to be a hard one to tackle in terms of we do have a ban of the e-waste not going to landfill, but it's going to be very hard for us to police the red lid bins unless we go out and check every red lid bin and let the residents know
Well,
through education.
You put your cameras on, don't you, on the recycling bin, recycling trucks?
We do, yeah, but it doesn't allow, it
Yeah.
can't actually check.
You might be able to check the small items, that's it.
Yeah, potentially could. That's one way we could have a look at.
It really needs a community to act together, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Needs everybody to sort of participate in the game.
Yeah.
And I think you can safely say that
I'm
those
not-
50% of them will play the game, the other 50% will look
So
for
yeah,
ways of getting around it.
I think we do, once we have waste education officer, and I know Rebecca Lamble from the sustainability team has been working very hard with schools and community. Evelyn, who works in my team, the landfill has been educating the community as in when they come by, whether it's mattress or electronic waste or any other waste. So we are trying our level best to do and educate and create more awareness. So that it will be ongoing. It will be an ongoing effort from
And in
council.
most places, a lot of people don't enjoy change. They find it very hard to adopt, but once they do and they understand why it's there, they're quite happy, because we had this not that long ago when we had to introduce a small charge on recyclables. A lot of people said, but it hasn't actually decreased the amount of recyclables that are still being brought in to be sent for recycle. There's the odd person that won't, but on a whole, 90% of all recycling that comes out to the landfill goes for recycling. So people do take a little bit of time, but they do adopt it.
I'd suggest
that's
that
fine.
in due course you're going to
Yes.
have to think of a way of picking it up from the houses as part of the pickup system.
Either that or they need somewhere in town to drop
Yeah.
stuff off.
It's got to be so easy that they don't have to think too much.
Well, that's the theory. The theory doesn't work in reality because I go quite often in the morning to the mall and I see what happens there. I don't know, there must be a different society in the, different hours, and it's a bit of a disappointment because I assume because the stuff that they leave in all there is basically from mainly a fast food outlet, and it tells me young people, they don't care. They can have bins in the right place, but they don't even bother doing that. So,
They're not all young.
well, I don't know. Well,
And it's
Some of
not
this
just
young bloke,
Bairnsdale,
yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I think it's...
No, it's out in our community. We live out of Eastwood and it's distributed through the streets in Eastwood.
Yeah.
But it's a legacy we're leaving for our children and our children's children. Someone's got to pick up the ball. But
Absolutely. With the rollout of this whole program, there's also Officeworks that's just got some budget from the state government to upgrade their infrastructure. So all the Officeworks store will have e-waste disposal facility in the future. So that's coming up. I'm sure there are other stores and agencies working on the same kind of platform to provide better service, more service, and more accessible services. And we will be doing that in the future as well. It's not going to stop here. We'll be reviewing and looking at opportunities to make it more accessible for the community to dispose.
does
Because
that start on the 1st of July? with
we start the
Officeworks?
Officeworks. The only news that's come out is they've got funds to upgrade the infrastructure for e-waste
And do we
acceptance.
have an Officeworks here?
Unfortunately, no. The closest one is in Traralgon.
But you can, to that office, national office, whatever it is today, choice, you can take printer cartridges and things like that to them. They'll take those off your hand.
A lot of the
No.
schools do that too.
And we do have that, the book that is in your bag has some information on where you can recycle, where is your closest recycling facility for different sort of commodities. So we'll keep that updating as well as in when we get an opportunity and we find new places. But at this stage we are looking at these 5 locations as far as council facilities are concerned.
Long term, would the council be looking at sort of doing some processing itself? Harvesting e-waste product?
There are a lot of requirements, conditions, EPA requirements. So it's a long process to get in, and then also the occupational health and safety sort of things. So it's a quite, even though it looks as a simple commodity, there's the dismantling of the product takes a while.
I appreciate that, I saw all that, it was just,
We do have.
is there enough money in it to do it at
Easily, no.
this sort of level rather than having to sort of do it at a state level?
There could be a potential. That's again a business scale that we need to look at. Like for example, we have been working with the tip shop at the Bairnsdale landfill for mattress dismantling. So all the mattress that goes through the Bairnsdale landfill is actually stripped, and the metals are separated, and the fabric is again reused or recycled. We're doing that for polystyrene. We're looking at options at this stage. So we have a machine that processes polystyrene. So there will definitely be an ongoing, research and exploring of different ways of how we could do and process in-house, because that will reduce the logistic cost of logistics as well.
Transport is a very significant cost in these things.
So I've
Absolutely.
heard on ABC Gippsland a Chinese company is coming here to recycle car batteries.
Hoarding's been collecting car batteries for a few years as
Yep.
part of their steer climb. It's a fundraiser. Last year I think it was MS, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but it's each year it targets a different cause, and it's just a way of our local fire brigade gaining money towards the stair climb, I
Mm.
think we were pretty close to, we're up in the top 10. We were close to coming top of the stage in the rural
Yep.
for fundraising for our community through funds like that. So that's something that sort of goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't aware of.
And we are definitely looking at and exploring opportunities to work with the community and not-for-profit organizations in the long run to tackle these recyclables and process them in-house. And any opportunity, we'll be more than happy to hear from the community and discuss it further.
All right, great. Well, if no one has any questions, nothing. That concludes our session today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to provide.
Thanks.